Okay, let me start over because I'm trying to record this. So there's three parts to your compass. You have the base plate, that's the part on the bottom that has a big blue arrow and there's other markings there. You have the dial, which can be turned, so you can actually turn that dial. It's not going to hurt it. And then you have a needle. You have a needle in the middle that points in a very specific direction, and we'll get there in a second. So what I want you to do for right now, we're on step number 2, is that I want you to turn the compass very slowly on your table. Just turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever. And then tell me what you observe. Yep, so write it down. Write down what you observe. Doesn't matter. Give you guys a few minutes to put that in your own words. So the next thing I want you guys to do with your compass is I want you to stand up. Instead of turning the compass, you're going to hold the compass straight out in front of you. And you're just going to, and don't turn the compass. All you do is turn your body. Make sure that big blue arrow stays in the same spot. You go very slowly, as slow as you can, and tell me what you notice then. Tell me what's moving, what's not moving. It's not moving. We're not moving. So let me explain something. So does anybody know anything about compasses? You guys got, in your compass, you have that needle. There's a red end and there's a white end. That red end is trying to point in a very specific direction. Do you know which direction it's trying to point? Yeah, north, right. As long as you're in the northern hemisphere, points north. If you're in the southern hemisphere, which way do you think it's going to point? South, right. So we couldn't use these compasses. These compasses are meant for the northern hemisphere. They would still work, but they would work in reverse if you go south. So the red part of the needle is always trying to point north. So as you turn it on your table, what you should have seen is you should have seen the needle stay still, pointing at a constant direction. As you turned it with your body, you should have seen the needle rotating relative to your motion. So in other words, the needle is always trying to point north, no matter which way you spin. So the first time you should, if you did, so it's hard to get that to work exactly right. The reason is because that needle is suspended in water, and as you move the compass, that water sloshes around. So we have to be a little bit patient. If this was a digital compass, it would work much faster. But since this is analog, we have to be a little bit patient, wait for that needle to find true north. Now, I haven't tested these compasses. We'll find out today. I haven't calibrated them. Hopefully, they all point directly north, but we'll find out. So this, go ahead, sorry. Hang on. Go ahead, say that again. The red and white should have moved together. Okay, I'll have to look at that because they should be connected to each other. Okay, I'll come look at it later, see what you're talking about. And by the way, you guys don't have to change your answers. You can keep your answers the same. I'm just kind of explaining what you should be seeing. And again, if you saw something different, that's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the direction of each of our 4 walls. This is how we're going to do it. So right now, if you guys look at the screen, I have my compass you guys see that big blue arrow? That's called my bearing arrow. I use that to get my bearing. When I say bearing, I mean north, east, what's that? Wow, excuse me. North, east, south, or west? Yes, go ahead. Bearing, yeah, like a bear. Yeah, bearing. So that's my bearing arrow. I think it says read bearing here, right next to the arrow. So what I'm going to do with that is I am going to I'm going to try to line up this. We see, guys, where it has a red end on your compass. I'm going to try to line up the red end with the tip of the red needle. So I have to turn it a little bit this way. Now this is where I have to be a little bit patient because as I turn the dial, the compass needle moves slightly. So I might have to make a couple adjustments. So I'm going to leave it alone for a little bit. And actually I got it right on the first try. But if you get, if it moves to the left and you're trying to line it up, just try to readjust until that red arrow matches up perfectly with the red end. I already messed up because I turned the compass too much. So again, my blue arrow is pointing straight at this wall, and I'm trying to get that red needle to line up with the red end. So I'm not moving the arrow, I'm just moving the dial. And so what I see is that the blue arrow, if I follow that blue line down, it looks like it goes down to about 30. So here's 20, 40, 60. I'll describe these numbers later. But right now, it's closest to the, you see how the blue is close to the end? It's closer to the end than it is to the east, or it's closer to the west. It's not west, it's not south. This arrow is closest to north. Does that make sense? So I'm going to call this my north wall, because that's which way it's pointed right now. So you guys are going to use this method to find the direction of each wall. So like I could say that this is the wall with a hole in it or whatever. Hang on. So I just want you guys to read through the instructions on the second and third page and identify which direction each wall is using the same method. First, point the blue arrow at the wall, and then line up your dial so end lines up with the red needle.